Hello. All right, today I am going live with Prathy, so I am waiting for her to join me today. We're going to be talking about repurposing your content, which Prathy is also a social media manager and social media marketer like I am. And so we do a lot of repurposing of content for multiple reasons, and that's kind of what we're going to get into today. So let me see if I can find her. She will be in here in just a second. I'm waiting for Prathy to join. Let's see. And, oh, here we go. All right, I've got Prathy coming in right now.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. Okay.
Good. Okay, I just have to make you bigger because last time she was so small
And
and
how do I change the background?
under effects.
Effects? I don't see effects.
It's really not a big deal. I just want to make you
Okay.
bigger.
Cool.
Um, are you bigger?
I am bigger, but there's like you're smaller, it looks like, and it's looking for three other people to join, I believe.
Yeah, I don't want that either. Um, no, that's too small. And what if we close that grid? Okay, hang on. Mm-mm-mm. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, anyways, how's your day going today?
Good, good. I'm in
Awesome.
California, so beautiful day right now.
It's what?
I'm in California, so it's actually like I think in the 60s and sunny. So
Nice. Okay,
yeah.
I'm just gonna stay like this and hope for the best. Um, I just want it to. Anyways, okay. Okay, so today, like I said, we're gonna be talking about repurposing content, and I'm really excited because you just did a live about this. Is that right?
Yeah, we did a live. I did a live with someone 2 weeks ago, and that was on Instagram, but it's so valid for any platform, really. And so I love talking about this topic. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't you start by just kind of telling us what you do, who you
Sure.
normally work with, what kind of things you do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, well, my name is Prathima. For those of you who don't know me, people call me Prathi. I am a social media strategist and manager, and I love working with brands honestly that are built by moms because I'm a mom myself. And I think just shared experiences, shared support means a lot to me, and so I can really relate to how to like kind of helping people figure out how to market their businesses as a side hustle or as a full-time thing while still growing our families and like wanting that lifestyle to keep our sanity in check, right? So that's what I love to do, is kind of help figure out a plan for people that works around their lifestyle.
Yeah, I love that. Cool. Okay, and then I met Prathy. We are both a part of Rachel Peterson's mastermind, the Social Click, which is a super cool mastermind because we get to connect with about 100 other digital marketers and, of course, Rachel Peterson. So if you're here on TikTok and you are interested in marketing, you may have potentially seen her videos before, but that is how we got connected. And So I do something similar, although I don't necessarily work with moms. I do love working with my husband and wife own businesses. They do happen to usually be parents who are focused on growing and scaling their business using brand awareness. And we do that through focusing on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok with a huge emphasis on short form video. And part of what we really do is a ton of repurposing. So that is why I love this topic, and I love going a little bit deeper than what you might what you might automatically think of repurposing being, which is just like posting the same thing on multiple platforms, which no hate to that because I do that all the time, but there is just like so many other ways that you can think about it. So let's start off with like why do you think that somebody would want to reuse or repurpose their content?
Well, there's a few things around that. One, I think, of course, efficiency. I'm all about simplifying processes and becoming more efficient as business owners because, we don't want to think marketing, although very important, we don't want it to overtake and social media to overtake our lives, right? Like our business lives. So we have other things to do, right? I mean, actually run our business. So repurposing allows you to efficiently use content in different ways and for different platforms based on what works well for that platform. So that's one thing. And then repurposing also in another fold is that, as marketers, we have to keep like putting in the message again and again into people's heads about something, about their products and services, about like educating them in like the benefits of our services and all that kind of stuff. And so that message being reused again and again in different ways, I think, and told in different ways is super important. So that idea needs to be in our heads that, we don't have to always create new content, new thoughts and ideas. Like, remember that we have to keep pushing in a message into people's heads repeatedly. And so staying on top of mind, it helps us stay on top of mind for long periods of time. So I think those are like the two big things why I think it's so important.
Yeah, I think you definitely hit on it. One of the things that I would add to that is so recently I think it might have been somebody connected to Gary Vee, or I was seeing this video or this information about like what is the marketing strategy for 2023. And for a lot of small business owners, I feel like it's not really a great thing that they want to hear because the marketing strategy is really about omnipresence. And an omnipresence can be really challenging to do as a small business owner. Mm-hmm. And so I think that repurposing really allows you to achieve omnipresence without like taking too much energy or too much time or anything like that. So yeah. I think you hit on it with like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. And so that's really where repurposing comes in. Mm-hmm. And by doing so, it really positions you as the expert and the thought leader in your industry when you are talking about the same thing all the time, which I know people might think that maybe that is not a good thing to talk about the same thing all the time, but what else should you be talking about besides your industry,
Exactly.
I feel like
yeah. So I mean, just on that topic of like, what you want to be remembered for. Just last week, we went over a plan with my client, the marketing plan for 2023, and the whole idea of, people saying things back, what you want them to say about you is the way that happens is you pounding that same message into their heads. So they'll remember you for that message, right? So if you want to be remembered as, the girl who helps marketing for boring businesses, you're going to keep pushing that message onto social media platforms and marketing. That's the message that you're going to be keep pushing. And then people will remember you as, the girl who creates like awesome marketing for boring businesses, right? Like, and makes them grow. So that's why like that whole message thing and, repurposing will help you kind of think of it that way as well. Like fall into the, bucket of, I want to keep saying the same message, the same thing, focus on the same thing. And so it's super important.
Yeah, no, definitely. Man, I really want to figure out how to make you bigger. It's just driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts. It's because I'm the host and you're not, but I know that we could both be hosts. I don't know if that's something that you
Uh,
can see on your end, if you can like ask to be a host.
I didn't see like when I was looking this up, because this is my first time doing live with someone, like it said that I can request to join the live, but I didn't see the option to request as a host. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm sorry. I don't see even that option below
It's okay.
at all.
It's just one day I'm gonna figure this out. For now, it drives me nuts. Okay.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
Okay. So, what do you see as the difference between repurposing or reusing content? Or is there a difference?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I know repurpose has been thrown around a lot, and I think a lot of people right now who probably aren't like familiar with that idea are thinking that you can just go put it on another channel, right? So that's basically reusing though, because you're not really changing anything up. You may remove like the logos of the platforms and the, all that kind of stuff, but you're just reposting, reusing the same piece. um, Whereas repurposing, I feel like there is going to be a strategy behind like which parts you use, how you use it. So for instance, if I take like a video from TikTok, I may take part of that and like say like take a quote that I did from that, or a little piece, put it as a quote on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. So that's what I call like repurposing, for a very generic kind of example. But so there is a difference. So I say reuse and with my clients, and say repost when I talk about just like absolutely changing nothing really
Yeah.
about the content piece, and then I say repurpose for strategically doing something else. Like even if it's the same video but used in a different background or cut in a different way, I will say repurpose. So yeah, that's how I kind of distinguish it.
Awesome. Hi, Sheila. Um,
Hi,
yeah,
Sheila.
no, I love that. Again, like I said at the beginning, I do reuse a lot of content.
Me
And
too.
because going back to that omnipresence idea and what we know, right? So you and I are posting a lot of content, not just for ourselves, but for our clients, and recognizing that what hits on one channel might not hit on the other and vice versa. And so instead of spending a ton of time creating a TikTok video and then spending a ton more time creating a reel and then spending a ton more time creating a YouTube short, creating one video, trying it on all of the platforms and seeing which one does the best or gets the
Mm-hmm.
best results, is definitely reusing the content. But then I
Yep.
love that idea of taking it a step further and pulling things out of it to then repurpose something that's already been created. So
Yep.
thinking about this is kind of an old strategy, and one of like the pinnacles of content, like I guess I don't really know what I would call it, but like, and I've done videos like this before where it's like take one piece of content and turn it into 51 pieces of content. And it's like starting off with one blog post or like a written out, or not written out, but like a, 5 things type
Mm-hmm.
outline, and then turning that into one video and 5 videos and 5 different posts with each one of those highlighted, and one post with all of those highlighted, and turning it into a carousel post and turning it into a pin on Pinterest and writing your email list with the same information, and basically taking this one piece of, one topic, like the 5 ways to grow your following on TikTok, and turning it into 50 different
Yeah.
pieces of content to then post not just on Instagram, but on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and to your email list, and maybe run it as an ad and create multiple videos out of it
Yep.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I love
mean,
that.
that's exactly it. And in fact, today I sent out an email which was all text based. I used that same content, created a carousel for Instagram, and put it into bite sized pieces, which I published. And then I just made a TikTok video and I just spoke whatever I wrote. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of exactly what I do usually. And on LinkedIn, I would probably take a little bit of that and shift it a little bit, because I know who my audiences over there, like, you know, a little bit more bigger businesses, but still with a personal touch on it. So yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I would do.
I love that.
Yeah.
Anytime I write an email, I always post it on LinkedIn because I feel like they have the same vibe. Email list and LinkedIn, to me,
Mhm.
they have the same vibe, but I can get why for some people they don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you decide what you're going to repurpose, what you're going to reuse? What makes you kind of decipher that?
So, I love data. I need to use data honestly because with social media, like, you know, just doing things on the blind or anything really, marketing, like you should be using data, qualitative and quantitative. So, you know, I look at the insights, whatever platform I'm on, I look at the insights to see which content did really well. And if I can reuse the same content, same caption without doing any work, and I would probably just repost that again the same way every few months, kind of thing, which is like an evergreen topic, right? So if it doesn't make sense for that time, then I won't. So usually I look for evergreen topics, meaning topics that never change, kind of, and I can repeat that same message and it makes sense, right? And if it did really well, and if I can reuse the content, I will reuse it. But if I can also repurpose it based on, let's say, I know, okay, graphics are doing well on Instagram right now, like, you know, just one static post. So maybe I'll try that out and see how it goes. But mostly, like, really good content that works, that had gotten really good past, like, performance, I will just reuse it again. Now, for content that didn't do well, but I feel like has a good message, at least from my point of view, and maybe I got a few comments and social sentiment that kind of resonated with some people, maybe the timing wasn't right, right? Or like optimal, or maybe the way I said it maybe wasn't the best way and I could have improved it. So I will decide, okay, maybe I should put it in a different format, or I should use a different hook or something like that. So I take my not so good performing content and kind of redo it and repurpose it to try to see if I can do better with it. And that's how I decide like how and which content pieces to reuse, repurpose and things like that. So that's my process. And that kind of helps me again, like be able to create content when I don't have time to create new ones. So, and it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're like saying you will, number one, like completely reuse a piece of content, not even just a video on multiple platforms, but take a piece of content that you created 3 or 6 months ago and then repost it again.
Yeah, I will.
Perfect. Yeah, I love that. And you also mentioned analytics being a big factor into what you're going to reuse and repurpose. And that is definitely so important, right? Like we have the tools in front of us to see what is resonating with people, and it's helpful to look at that to save yourself time and heartache.
Yep.
So when I was thinking about that question, like really anything can be repurposed or reused. Like if at some point you used it. And so like maybe it's not evergreen, but maybe one thing that I've been doing this year is actually going back into all my clients' accounts for like the year and see like what did we talk about last January? What did we talk about last
Yep.
February? What did we talk about last March? And like, is it relevant? Should we talk about it again? Did it do well? How did we present this information?
Yeah.
And like you said, like we will just recreate the same posts again. Kind of about the same exact topic because
Yeah.
it like that is what we talk about.
Still
And so there's
relevant.
the evergreen content and then there's the content that's relevant to that year or whatever,
Yeah, I
that
love
time
that.
of the year.
I do that with my dental client. I have a client who's a dentist, and like, you know, this month is natural, or what is it, National Children Dental Health Month. So there are a lot of topics that we did last year, and I'm just repurposing that content and putting it into different formats. So it's super useful to do that because seasons don't change. These kind of months and like trending holidays and you know, culturally relevant like topics, again, they keep coming up again and again, so it's very important to have a plan around those for sure and
Mhm.
repurpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, So one thing that I wrote down that I think is so interesting, and I don't take the time to do this very regularly, but I've listened to a lot of content creators who will talk about a piece of content that they know is good information, like you said, and repackaging it by testing different hooks. A lot of times, especially when we're looking really at any piece of content, it's not necessarily that your content wasn't good. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, of course, that could be the case, but it isn't always the case. Like, I was just talking to my client today, and she has these mini courses that she struggles to sell. And I said to her, it's not that people don't need or want your mini courses. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's not a need, but that isn't necessarily what we're seeing right now because
Yeah.
no one's even getting them. So, what we're seeing is that your sales page is not converting. So, that's the first place that you have to look. And so, it's like if you're putting out a ton of content and it's not converting to followers, it might not be your content, it might be your hooks, it might be your call
Yep.
to action. So taking a piece of content and of course like eventually you might just need to give up on it, but
Yeah.
testing out different hooks and different ways to get people in, whether it's your Instagram post or your video or whatever that is, and then you can make a better decision. But sometimes
Yeah.
it's just the beginning because we have to understand that people have short attention spans and there's a lot of content to consume across multiple platforms. So
Yeah.
that is one thing that you can always test. And there's some really big creators that literally take the same video and have 3 or 4 different hooks and they'll put them out
Yep.
for 20 minutes, and if it's not getting the results that they think, they take it off and
Yeah.
change the hook and put it out again until it gets the results. Or they put it out and they know it's a good piece of content, and by the third or fourth time they're getting millions of views on it. So
Yeah.
there is strategy behind what you're posting and your hooks that you're using, but then there's also like sometimes it's just not the day that your content's going to get in front of people.
Yeah. And that's the thing with social media. It's not one to one, right? Like you brought up a good point is that not everybody's going to see it at that time that you want them to see it. Like I just posted something, let's say an hour ago. And, of course, there are platforms that'll tell you when your audience is most active, but it's not necessarily always the case. They're not going to see it because they just ended up like logging off or something, right? And so that's why repurposing and focusing on that one message again and again and again is super important because it always hits differently at a time and place when the audience most needs it, right? Like, so that's why, again, in marketing, they say like why you need to say something like what 7, 8 times or whatever. And that's when someone will finally act on what you say. That's important. And that ties back to repurposing and how important it is to consider when repurposing, like taking that same message and like saying it a different way, or even saying the same thing again and reusing it. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why I have both like reusing and repurposing like within what I do. So
Yeah. If you're watching this and you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We're happy to answer any questions that you have about repurposing or video content or anything like that. So I have some examples, but I don't think that they're quite going to get the message apart. But I was just thinking about a really, really great example of this, and darn it if I didn't just lose it.
oh no.
But anyways, do you have any examples? I know that we've talked about a lot of them, but one that you want to share with us?
Well, yeah, I mean, so truthfully, the client that I was talking about, my dental client, so last year they just launched early last year, 2022. And when you open up like an office like that that's brick and mortar, the dentist is going to be busy, right? And so even hiring people to your team to help create content, that it takes time. So what I wanted to say was from June till now, I've been repurposing all their content. New content has only come in when, let's say, there's some trends that they want to hit on and things like that. But other than that, I've been repurposing everything for the last 9 months. And we're still growing. Like I did a post about this where I shared like the growth chart. Yes, it's not going to be like from 0 to like 10,000 or like getting tons of followers because that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to stay on top of mind. And so that's important too, is that if you're in the season of just maintaining your online presence, I think repurposing is going to be one of the biggest strategies that you implement, because you don't have time to create necessarily a lot of new content, things like that. So even reusing your content is okay, I think. And go for it if it means, like, repeating the same message that you want to put out there. And it is important still, and it still is valid, right? And it's relevant, because they're still getting people in their doors. They are busy. They are still, like, lots of people are booking appointments. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but people still come back and tell them that, hey, like, we really like your content online. I've changed like the types, maybe using a different type of video for the reel, because they used to do a lot of trending audio reels early last year on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I can't necessarily use them because they were lip syncing and I just can't use it. So I try to get a lot of B-roll footage, or I just use stock footage, and you can still push the same message out. So you just have to, like you said, experiment and test.
Mm-hmm.
It's super important. Yes, it might not do like extremely well or go viral, but the point is, when we want people to think of, like, a dentist, for example, like, I want them to think of them, right? So I need to keep putting them out there in different ways. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that, because it's possible. It's possible. And especially if you're just trying to sustain your online presence, and keep on top of mind, repurposing is going to be super useful for you.
Yeah, I love that. I actually do the exact same thing. My clients also are very, very busy. Getting new video footage from them is not realistic, and they're not in my state. So we have videos that we use for all kinds of things over and over and over again, connect them with friends, add context to them, put educational tips on top of them. Whatever it is. But yes, we do that all the time. We have pictures that we're reusing all the time. So that is absolutely what we have to do as well. And I'm sure that a lot of people who are managing accounts not on site are probably doing the same thing. But one of the biggest things for business owners to understand is that you don't have to be constantly creating new content. You can just take things that you already have and reuse them with an evergreen type strategy. Even like Rachel has taught us, like, you can put things in a scheduler a year in advance and just rotate through things, just so that you have content going out. And then when relevant things come up, you can post those on the daily, but then at least you have content getting out there every single day.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool that, you are doing that too, just because, I mean, it's okay. Like, you can hear it from us. Like, you can reuse and repurpose all you want. And, you shouldn't be thinking, like, I guess a lot of people think, oh, like, I just posted that. They just heard that. I already did it. And I do get clients who push back sometimes, like, saying, oh, we already posted that. I'm like, no one's going to look at your feed and say, oh my God, you posted that. Or will they remember the stuff that you posted? Like, they have better things to worry about. Meaning, but
well,
on
and
that
there's just
day,
a lot of content that people are seeing. They're not paying attention to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Darn it. There was one thing. I don't know what is wrong with my brain today, but I'm totally not thinking, but something that you said, it sparked something in my head. Oh, about growing. One of my newest clients, I just posted about them on Facebook because we're seeing such great results with them. And we're using, like, totally reposted stuff. I have found, like, if people will give me content like once a month or twice a month, it really helps with the growth of their account, just because it can stay, like, really relevant. But yeah, I definitely have seen repurposed content still be able to get us high views, increase our followers. Like, we went to from 0 to 1,000 in about 2 months. We are using a little bit of ads too, which is really fun on TikTok to use. So that's a great way to get your content in front of people.
Yeah, and that's why ads work, is because you still are staying, like, present, right? Like, you're still posting content. And so when they work together,
only work on good content. I don't, like, try to amplify bad content.
Yeah, exactly. So ads help amplify the great content that you're putting out there already, right? So that's why having the paid and the organic together works, versus if you're not putting anything out there and then all of a sudden you try to put ads out there and then, you're not doing anything like organically, it's a little bit harder for sure. Like, I'm not gonna lie at all. Like, I know a lot of people come to say, can I get leads from ads, just ads? No, like, keep up your organic marketing as well. It'll help amplify everything. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, well, I feel like that is it. We have touched on everything today, and I really appreciate your time and joining me. Any last remarks or last tips?
Last tips. Again, like, I think, always remember that, like, have a plan around all of this. So the better that your systems are for planning the content, I think the easier it becomes, versus like thinking, oh, let me just repurpose something today. Let me go back 3 months. Versus, like, even if you use like a Google Doc or an Excel sheet saying, I'm going to repost this after 3 months and blah, 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 like, it makes it easier on you. So I would just say, use like simple systems to help your repurposing tasks, like whether it's a platform, like Metrical. I think I don't know if you use Metrical, but
I use Metrical.
Yeah, exactly. Or like even Google Docs. I always plan it out like this. And so it just makes it easier. So I think that would be my tip.
Yeah. Last week I went live with Lindsay Bell.
Yes.
Yeah. And she has created a really amazing calendar using Airtable that you can get. It's in I posted the video on Facebook and on YouTube, the full video with her link for that content calendar. So along with content creation comes all kinds of systems that we need to have in place, and repurposing just being one of them. But having a plan makes life so much easier if you want to be consistent online, for sure.
Yep. Well, this was fun. Thank you so much for.
One day I'll figure out the right ratio of humans.
Yeah. We'll do another live and then we'll be like, yes, we figured it out.
I know. I'm going to figure it out. But anyways, thank you so much. And I will, I'm going to post this on YouTube and Facebook again, so you can rewatch it and you can share it and see it there.
Awesome. Thank you for joining, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.